Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tradesman Experience. This is the podcast built by tradesmen for tradesmen. My name is Josh, and across the table is the talent, Mr. Nate Newton.
Yeah.
If you are watching this on YouTube right now, you will see that Mr. Nate Newton has his The Talent shirt on.
I'm trying on, man.
Nate, how are you, sir?
Oh, fucking just trying to keep up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Between the coaching and work is bonkers right now, and then we're going to Fab Tech, so it's like trying to get enough shit done to where, you know, like I'm not going to miss any deadlines while I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
Because I got a hospital and two smaller homes on my plate right now that I got to get out before I take off. So
Nice.
yeah, good times.
What is the incoming scope of work? I mean, that's 3 examples, but have the bids kind of picked back up?
Yeah, we keep finding these multifamily units, which I'm just fucking done with bidding on them. You know, they're like fourplexes or, you know, 20 or not even, most of these are like 8 to 10 apartment buildings. And it's usually like stairwells and some railing and some architectural shit. But the success rate of these things even going through to construction is like fucking 1 to 5% or something right now. You know, the interest rates are way too high, and they know investors, they want everything for nothing. So it's everything goes back to cost value engineering. You end up bidding on the same job 5 fucking times, and your scope of work gets reduced to 50%. And I'm just like, yeah. I don't care to do that line of work right now either. You know, we've got, between our commercial stuff, we've been getting into the tilt ups pretty heavily, and then the custom home market. We're getting a good stronghold on the commercial side, and then we've already got a stronghold on the residential side. So it's like, I think I'd rather double down on what we're doing now than trying to get into. And dude, you get into like these, these huge apartment complexes, and everything is so fucking cheap and chintzy, and we don't do low quality shit, so it's not a good fit for us.
Right.
You know, like I know that there's some of these outfits out there that they buy these prefab panels that have like a little wing tab on them, so you can actually rack them to run up stairwells and stuff, and they're just cheap, flimsy pieces of shit. And you know, you're going to end up getting sued over it. Somebody's going to fall through it and you're going to get sued. So I'd rather focus on our talents than trying to branch into these, you know, lower profit margin markets. You know, the bigger guys can handle all that stuff, you know.
Ultimately, what I'm hearing, and I think the lesson there is know your lane and know how wide you want your lane to be. When you create different lanes, that's where you start to get into trouble. If you can stay in your lane with your strengths, with your capabilities, with your team, but widen your lane, you can work efficiently that way and effectively, because that ends up being just adding a little bit more. When you create a different lane, that's a whole nother set of systems, set of operations, set of people, set of skills that you need to have. It's a whole different set of relationships with contractors, clients.
Well, and especially like those large scale apartment complexes that you see popping up all over Reno, where they're like
crazy
1,000-unit complexes. Dude, the amount of people you have to man that project to move as quickly as they do, we just don't have it. You know, if we got to dedicate 4 to 6 people to one project for a year, we don't have that right now, you know. But we're so focused on culture and so focused on, you know, doing this thing right that it's like it takes a while to build your teams up, you know.
It's not necessarily organic, but it's not a lot faster. You know, when you grow that culture, because you can go to those large job sites and find how many people like what they do and who they do it for. Normally it's chaos.
Yeah.
But recognizing, you know, that building that culture in the company, but also you said doubling down, really developing the relationships that you want in that lane that you want, you know, in the commercial market, in the custom home market, in the ornamental market. Just put more effort into that, compound, you know, the efforts into that, multiply those results instead of trying to get into something else completely different again. And I think, honestly, that's a mistake a lot of owners make, is I need my hand in all of these different pies. Sometimes when you're trying to get something off the ground, you can get away with that because you do need to test the markets, I think, see what's available, see what the market's going to support you doing, find out what you enjoy doing. But you can't sustain that.
I think you need to put foundations in one or two markets. Like you said, test the waters everywhere. Put your foundation in one or two markets and get that operation to run smoothly, and then start looking at doing other things.
Because then you can build the team. You know, my client, Casey, so he has a professional handyman business. Well, he's structuring it to where he has trucks that specialize. You know, so he has one truck that's like mud tape and paint. He has one truck that's interior or exterior repair. He has one. So he encompasses all of these different things, but he's setting up his operations where he has all of these kind of micro businesses of specialties within it.
Yeah, that's smart.
So, yeah, and it's working out really well for him. And, you know, with small business, you have cross-pollination. You've got versatility of different guys, and you can send them different places. But the business model itself is set up to, you know, operate that way. So it's really good.
Does he got other guys running the trucks, or is it? Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. He's has built and is building a team. He's got a rock star of an EFI now.
Nice.
Which I think that's completely changed his business because he recognized, as a lot of companies do, you start to identify, okay, I need this position. And that position might be a foreman, it might be a salesperson, it might be an EFI. But he identified that, okay, this is the position that I need. And that really set him up for success in operation of the business. So, and I get to meet him in person at the contractor fight in Denver the end of the month.
Nice. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. Going to be fun. Notes on the coaching. We still have some coaching spots available. And I had a conversation yesterday with it's a 2-owner company, and they're 2-owner operators. I had a conversation with those guys year and a half ago, a consult with them. And, you know, we had the conversation. We just kind of talked about the 4 tiers of marketing back then. What do you want to be known for in the market? Because they were a brand new company at that point. And nothing ever came of it. Well, I got a notification a month or so ago that this company purchased a full year of Toolbox. Well, the way that it's set up right now, and it's going to change January 1, but the way that it's set up right now, if you purchase a full year, you get an hour of coaching. So it came in, I got on, sent them a personal email. Hey guys, thanks for buying the Toolbox. You get an hour. Let me know when you want it. And at that time, I didn't recognize the name of the company. They emailed me last week and said, hey, we would like to schedule our hour. And then I got to look and I'm like, I think I know these guys. Sure shit, it was the company that I had talked to year and a half ago in that consult. And when they popped up on camera and I said, it's been a minute, fellas. And they just kind of laughed. And, you know, we had a really, really good conversation. They're still trying to build their market. But what I explained to them, I said, the way that the coaching is set up now, because it was completely different the first time I had a conversation with them, I said, most of my clients spend 2 to 4 hours a month with me, and that's it. 2 to 4 hours. Some guys do it in 2 meetings. Some guys do it in 1. I might have one client, like if there's 5 weeks in a month that I would see 3 times. Outside of that, I meet with everybody every 3 to 4 weeks. And we spend 3 hours or less together.
Right.
And I explain that to them, and I'm explaining that now because the return on investment for that, you know, $150 an hour, 2 hours is $300, 4 hours is $600 for the whole month. That's what you end up investing. Your return on that investment is, I mean, I've got clients that have 10x'd, right, their investment. Offering the freedom and flexibility, and this was one of the things that they really liked, was we're going to go through stuff, we're going to solve problems, we're going to create things, and then you have time for implementation.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel that you need 4 or 5 weeks between our next conversation, that's what we'll do.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to jump on this and meet in 2 weeks, then that's what we'll do. It's the model is set up to give the client freedom
Mm-hmm.
and the flexibility, but also set up where there's still a sense of accountability. There's still a sense of, moving the needle, still a sense of solving problems, but it's such at a low risk point with a high return.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of want to really help people understand that, 1 to 4 hours a month is really, unless you're just drowning, and that happens,
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to my buddy Garrett, right? That happens where it's like, I need to spend every week, we've got to get this ship turned, then that's what we'll do.
Mm-hmm.
But, a few $100 a month will generate you thousands and thousands of dollars, plus give you peace of mind, plus give you better profits, plus help you say no to the work you need to be doing, plus give you time off.
Yeah. The clarity and direction alone is worth it. Like that. I mean, most of us are running out into these markets not really knowing what we're doing. And to have somebody to help you with a path,
Mm-hmm.
That way you don't feel like you're wasting effort. And that's the biggest thing, I think, when you're starting out is you waste a lot of effort doing a lot of dumb shit. And it's like, if we can eliminate that dumb
Mm-hmm.
shit, that makes life a lot easier for everybody.
Yeah. It's also interesting. I had a conversation. I'll save his name for now. He wants to change his business model, not rebrand, change his business model.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to kind of go back into working off of his rig, doing rig work. So in conversation, we kind of developed this theory of a business model where he wants to do 50% subcontracting rig work and 50% on business, kind of the current ornamental, really, what he's wanting to do. And he's wanting to kind of divide that. And he was hesitant in the conversation, but I asked him a question. I said, what is it that you enjoy doing? What do you want to do?
All of it.
Well, he said, dude, my favorite thing is to work off my rig. I said, then let's create a business model that gives you that, and let's start strategizing of how to get there. Because you don't want to just turn the faucet off of what you're doing,
right,
and then run out into the field with an empty bucket.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, let's strategize, let's be smart about it, and let's work to shift your business model.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want people to feel like they are confined to their business and their business model, and 20 years go by and they're miserable.
Mm-hmm.
What do you enjoy doing? What do you want to do? Because you're going to provide the best experience and the most value doing what you enjoy doing.
Mm-hmm.
You have to understand your market. Can you do it locally, or do you need to travel? What does that look like? If you can afford the opportunity to travel and be away from home, and that's what you enjoy doing, then fucking do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's really that simple.
Right, it is.
I wish there was some brilliant, philosophical answer that I'd constructed, but it's really that.
Right.
It's really that fucking simple.
Mm-hmm.
So, but those are conversations, that I have in coaching every week. It's something really fascinating to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a conversation the other day. Sometimes you just need someone to talk business with.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and the thing is, we're too goddamn prideful for it most of the time, At least if you're paying somebody for it, you can fucking swallow your pride, You're like, I don't know what I'm doing. You're like, yeah I know.
So I was on a call with a guy in Pennsylvania, and he said, man, he goes, I've been trying for months to get one of my friends to call you.
Mm-hmm.
His friend has been in this company for 1.5 or 2 years. He doesn't own it, but he does have a leadership position. And finally the guy said, okay, I will call him he takes the idea back to his bosses, his leaders, and says, I want to get leadership coaching, this and that and whatever. And the owner said, just work harder. You'll figure it out.
Well, yeah, at least he's a high quality leader. Yeah.
And I think we're faced with that so much, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's
there's just a stigma behind it. It's like going to therapy, right? Coaching is going to therapy for your business.
I've acquired a lot of nicknames.
Have you?
The counselor, the traveling shrink,
Ass Face McGee.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's add that to the. Let me write that down. The industrial therapist,
Industrial therapist.
Yeah. I've acquired all of these labels.
The construction consultant.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is when I hear somebody say that, what I hear is, it took me 40 years to figure it out, so you spend 40 years figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you want to compress and expedite that success?
Right.
But that's that's the type of adversity that I get to face every day.
Mm-hmm.
Is, what the fuck you need a coach for?
Mm-hmm. And it's always fucking graybeards are the one putting up the fight on it, you know?
Yeah, every time.
Those resistant to change.
Yeah. It's the way we've always done it, boy. Oh.
How's that working out for you?
I don't know where that slavery tone came from, but who you calling boy?
Why are you going to whip?
God damn. I got to quit shaving my head, obviously. Jesus. Yeah. Last point, Toolbox is getting added to. That's going to be, it's still available, but don't buy it until October. We're changing the price to $19.95 a month. We are getting rid of the annual purchase option after the first of the year. It's just going to be monthly subscription, and this is early enough. We are going to be raising the price on the hourly coaching January 1 as well.
Okay.
It's been the same for a couple of years, and as much as I encourage clients to raise their price, I'll be doing the same, but more details to come because I want to have those conversations with my current clients, and then I'll make it public. So, but that's coming down the pipe. Tonight is the night. Wait, what? It's not open mic night.
I am
Nate.
moist. Yeah.
Oh, good. I love that word. Actually, people get weirded out by that word. I don't understand it.
I don't know. I don't get it either.
Do you get weirded out by any words?
Nope.
I don't think I do either.
I love you. Those ones are.
Yeah. Especially when you're staring directly into my eyes. You should blink when you say that, creepy fuck. Take my eyelids back.
I don't. When people are just like, the fucking word makes me cringe. I'm like, dude, you guys get weirded out by the dumbest fucking shit. Like, you guys need more problems in your lives if a word is bothering you.
Yeah. The N-word bothers people.
It sure does. That's another one of those things too, because I got friends that are gay and all that, and people dropping F-bombs on them or what, and it's like, at the end of the day, that person's trying to hurt you. And the only thing that gives that word any gravity or any traction is your reaction to it. If it didn't bother you, they wouldn't fucking say it. Yeah. And it's your choice. You have a choice to be offended or not. I mean, I always looked at it as like, who the fuck is that guy? Like, why do you give a fuck what that dude thinks?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never.
I mean, I'm a white American male. There ain't a fucking word you can call me that I'm going to be offended by.
I was just about to say the exact same thing. Like, but
that doesn't change the reality that your reaction is what gives it the gravity. You let ignorance infect your life. I mean, I'm sorry, but those people are always going to exist. There's always going to be somebody out there that says some dumb fucking shit. Yeah. And then you can either choose to react or not.
Yeah. When people laugh at my tiny penis, that hurts my feelings.
Yeah. That's laughter, Josh. That's not a word.
Damn it. When they say the word tiny penis.
Micro penis. I think that's the one they use.
Oh, it's micro penis. That's right. Yeah. That's hurtful.
Yeah. Unlike your penis.
It doesn't hurt anybody. You'll know I've been there. God. So we're talking about boundaries. Boundaries. I was scrolling through all of our previous conversations, and I was shocked that we haven't had this conversation yet, talking about boundaries. And I want to look at it through a couple different lenses tonight, kicking it off with personal boundaries. I think it's important right out of the gate that boundaries are not limitations.
Mm-hmm.
Limitations are limitations.
Right.
Boundaries should be set so when you start to kind of rub up against them, you kind of need to evaluate.
You got a buffer zone.
And you need to have people, I think, a part of a team or having someone that helps you be accountable to those things is really important. And I was having back to some of the conversations I've had, because I want to jump into this one first because I've got on my notes here, distraction. You have to have boundaries for distractions. The phones all have now. They can show you your screen time, right? And that's a good measurement, right? To see what you're doing, how much distraction, but you need to have boundaries. So a recent conversation I had has helped me understand that I've really painted this kind of black and white line of no television kind of thing. And some people just like to watch TV. And in my conversation with that guy, this kind of, we kind of got into boundaries a little bit. And I said, I honestly don't have any issue with television. What I have an issue with is when television breeds procrastination. If you get all of your shit done and you want to burn the last hour of your day awake in front of a TV, fucking have at it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm not going to label that as right or wrong or bullshit.
Right.
What's wrong is when you get home from work, you fucking plop your ass in front of the television, crack open whatever substance you're preparing to indulge, and you're neglecting the things that you're responsible for. That's when I have a fucking problem with television.
Yeah. Well, that's one of those things, we've never had this capability before where you can sit down and binge watch an entire season of a very entertaining show in a full fucking day, right? You're pissing a fucking full day away, but it's like, just even having the ability to do that, like when we were growing up, it was like you had commercials and the shows only came out at a certain time and everybody was jockeying for that primetime spot on the whatever channel,
I had three channels.
Three, yeah, probably. And you were the remote.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll turn that channel, boy.
Yeah. But, like in the temptation, it's because it's become so commonplace also, and it's crazy to think that getting your shit done is the outlier now.
That's heavy. That's accurate, but heavy.
Right.
Because you are the outlier now when you actually get your shit done. And I think ultimately, and I don't have a perfect description for boundaries, but how much comfort are you inviting into your life? And how much are you avoiding discomfort? Because just the concept of going home and doing the things that you need to do, to some people is uncomfortable. And the reason it's uncomfortable is they have this justifying narrative that, well, I did work out. I did work all day. I did these things. So I deserve to be able to sit down for the last 2, 3, 4 hours of my night and fucking watch television. And scrolling is the same thing, right? Scrolling, watching TikTok, whatever. It's the same concept of TV now, but to your point, we have so many opportunities for distraction now. And it is weird. You saying that, it is really weird how you look at someone that does have all of their things done, that has framework in their life. And it's like, oh man, look at that guy's a badass. She's a monster. Man, I don't know how you get so much stuff done. Motherfucker, it's not what I'm doing, it's what I'm choosing not to do.
Right. Yeah, and like you said, like there's like an hour of TV. So what? Not a big deal. But
right.
4 hours a day on your fucking screens.
Crazy.
They're like the video game thing, dude. The amount of grown ass, dude. Because I used to love playing video games. Like I loved Call of Duty and all that shit when it first came out. I was like 20, right? But there are dudes that have children that are in their fucking 30s they're neglecting time with their fucking kids so that they can play video games on the internet for hours on end.
Right.
With somebody either across the country or across the globe. And I'm just like, that one blows me the fuck away. That you're a grown-ass man and you're neglecting your old lady, you're neglecting your fucking kids, you're neglecting your housework, you're neglecting your animals. All this shit because you're spending multiple hours a day. Like, and it's a fucking addiction, you know?
It's interesting, too, because it directly affects your performance for the next day. You know, I don't know how people stay up till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning gaming.
Dude, I'm like on my couch, like fucking still dicking around with emails or doing whatever. And I literally wake up on my couch at 2 o'clock in the morning and I've been asleep for fucking 5 hours on the couch. And I'm just like, what the fuck? I don't know. I can't stay up like that unless I'm out partying, you know, but I can't stay up like that anymore.
Right. Yeah, I could not do that either. And I have no desire to.
Right.
But again, looking at that, you know, boundaries come with priorities. And you recognize what your priorities are, what it is that you're responsible for. And again, it's just, so let's kind of go back into, because we're talking about the personal aspect of it. Now, my situation is different because I live alone. So do you. So we have all of the responsibilities. Now, I rent an apartment, so I can call when something needs to be done.
Well, I rent a house, but I'd much rather just handle it myself. You know, like we put that fucking dishwasher in.
Gotcha.
You know, I still need you to help me look at that fucking water heater. But, you know, like shit like that, if it's something simple and fixable.
Of course.
And, dude, I really don't have to spend that much time fucking keeping my place up. For one, I don't own shit anymore, which is great. I will preach to the high heavens that the more you can move to a minimalist lifestyle, the better off you are, dude. Because I had all the shit, you know, and it was just all fucking unnecessary. You know, now I have way less shit. I'm way happier, way easier to keep my house in line. Fucking takes me no bullshit to like do a thorough cleaning on that house by myself. Fucking looking at an hour tops, and I'll do that once a month. You know, other than that, it's just keeping everything tidy and fucking vacuuming once in a while. But to like clean that place front to back is an hour because I'm in 3 rooms for maybe a fucking hour a day,
right?
You know, other than the bedroom. You know, so it's just like it's.
So here's the metric that I now use for having things because I too have migrated to a more efficient lifestyle, which I also have thoroughly fell in love with. Just that sense of efficiency. It's incredible. I look at it. Here's my metric: time and money. If I can't afford the time to take care of it properly, or if I can't afford the money to have it taken care of properly, I don't need it.
Dude, if you went to my house, you still haven't been to my house yet, have you?
No.
Oh, good.
Have you been to my apartment?
Yeah, once.
Okay.
I had to take you over there for pick up your truck or something.
Yeah.
But, dude, if you go into my kitchen, there are 2 cabinets with shit in it. I got my Lazy Susan that has my fucking pots and pans, and then I got my cups and plates and all that shit. Oh, and I got spices, but that's it. Everything else is just empty.
Yeah. So simple. Now, I don't have kids. I've never had kids. I don't understand the dynamic that they add, but I do know that it's a dynamic. What I think is important, though, is teaching boundaries and disciplines in the family as a structure. When I look at, again, kind of the personal aspect is if you don't have clearly outlined responsibilities in the house and I'm not going down the black. I'm not going down the black and white road. Okay, God damn it. The road I am going down though is what are the shared responsibilities and priorities? And you know, if you've got somebody in the house laying on their ass watching TV while somebody else is doing all the fucking chores, there's a tremendous breakdown in that relationship because the person doing all of the chores has not set clear boundaries and expectations for their partner. And a quick side note, the fact that it is unacceptable today to have expectations of your partner is fucking bananas to me.
Mm-hmm.
I have very clear expectations of my partner.
Mm-hmm. What's his name?
They call him Big Tony, and it's not an oxymoron. But the fact that you can't have expectations of performance, of health, of physicality, of intimacy, of fucking finances, the fact that you can't have clear expectations and boundaries with your partner today, how that is so fucking looked down upon.
Oh, dude, and that goes both directions, like the whole.
Absolutely.
This ain't just a fucking man trying to hold a bitch down kind of a thing. It's like, dude, your old lady better fucking tell you what she expects out of you,
Mm-hmm.
Like, because then it just, there's all this silent resentment going on,
Yep.
I ain't gonna fucking have that shit,
No.
It'll blow up in your face, trust me. I know.
And it can be as simple as small things. For example, is there an expectation to go grocery shopping together?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of mine. I enjoy it. Is there an expectation to help with what responsibilities? Is there an expectation, is there an expectation for me to smack your ass and pull your hair? Like, to fucking tell me what it is.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yes, ma'am.
what is the
I
expectation?
bet you Big Tony likes that.
Big Tony's got a ponytail. Not much on top, but that back.
He's got that skullet going on.
Oh, yeah, he does. Fucking yank and crank.
Business closed in the front, still partying in the back.
Get that slick slope on the top, man. It just gets it done. But again, we're laughing about it, but looking at how many personal relationships, don't have those conversations. They don't have clear expectations and they don't have clear boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And I think both are equally important to share. If you have areas of your life that you, I'm not talking about neglecting. I'm just talking about, hey, we're not going to venture off in this together.
Mm-hmm.
Just have those boundaries, man. Have those boundaries for your relationship. Have those boundaries, for yourself. So outside of the relationship, you've got to have boundaries with people.
Mm-hmm.
And something that I learned recently that I think I have shared on here before is some relationships are near impossible to eliminate, so you have to edit them.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, editing relationships is a boundary. And for me, the real boundary is the influence that you're going to have on me, that I'm going to decide and I'm going to allow that you have on me.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You can stand at that boundary line and yell all you want. It's my decision of what I allow in.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to have boundaries with people. I was doing some speaking earlier this week, and because of kind of NDA agreements and stuff, I can't disclose where it's at or who it's with. But as I was talking to this group of young people, I was trying to explain to them, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Mm-hmm.
If you hang out with 5 people that are out of shape, broke, and complaining, you will be the 6th.
Mm-hmm.
If you hang out with 5 people that work on fitness, talk finance and business, and are on a path of growth, you will be the 6th.
Mm-hmm.
That has to come with boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
You have to decide who you are going to allow in, right? You're the doorkeeper. You're the gatekeeper at the party.
Mm-hmm.
Check IDs and decide who you're going to let in there. But boundaries with people is so difficult for some. That comes with maturity, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Because with maturity comes hard conversations and hard decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And you just have to set those boundaries. And you have to hold the line.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not a fucking boundary anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's, I think we all set boundaries at some point, right? But I think there's also a lot of us that are willing to abandon them the moment things get uncomfortable.
Right.
Right. And it's like, whether you do it out of love for your spouse or you do it out of respect for your boss. And the thing is, like, it's hard for people to see that your leadership is going to respect you more if you respect yourself enough to hold your boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a leader, not a boss, right? A boss, that's a whole other fucking story. Yeah. But I mean, dude, like, okay, and I hate the fact that I fucking know this, but it got brought up to me one time. And it's there's all that shit going on with Jonah Hill and his ex-girlfriend leaking all these fucking text messages about whatever was going on in their lives. And like, I kind of read through a couple of the text messages, and I'm like, I was like, well, that sounds like she's standing her ground, you know, this and that. Come to find out, I was reading Jonah Hill's side of it, and it's like, the dude was just putting out boundaries. But this toxic ass broad is like trying to throw him under the bus for it. And it's like, he was being very clear about what the fuck it is he wanted. But you'll start to see who the pieces of shit in your life are real fucking quick when you start setting boundaries and people can't just do whatever the fuck they want with you anymore. They can't talk to you however the fuck they want anymore. They can't spend your fucking time how they want anymore. And like, to see how people switch out on you so hard because of that. And it's like, good. Good. All right, we're getting somewhere, you know? Because those 5 people that you're talking about, those 5 people are going to respect the fuck out of that, you know? And so I think it's, you're going to be surprised at how much you're going to lose by how much you're going to gain.
Again, boundaries and expectations. I know for me, you know, drama, complaining, and victim mindset, I have very strong boundaries on.
Yeah.
Not that I don't invite people to vent or complain with me, because if we're going to problem solve, I'm okay with it.
You got to be close.
You got to be. Absolutely. But other than the people that I select in, I mean, those 3 are some pretty hard boundaries for me. You're just not getting in.
Right.
So fucking go complain and be victim with somebody else. And they will.
Right.
They'll find somebody to feed into their bullshit. I just don't do it. And it's amazing. And the reason I bring that up is, to your point, is when you do hold the line on those boundaries, those people start to fade away.
Oh, yeah. Dude, people get fucking pissed.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and then they do play the victim.
Yeah, they feel attacked.
They do. Well, Josh won't fucking talk to me anymore. No, I won't.
Right. Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Because if those words are coming out of your mouth, the person that you are saying that to clearly doesn't have boundaries with you, right? Like, it's you've just now infected or intoxicated somebody else with your perceived problem, because I have boundaries. And I mean, I've had a lot of people in my life that now stand outside the wire, you know, that stand outside those boundaries, just because I'm hyper selective of who I let in.
Yeah. Well, dude, okay. Well, with that being said, I think there is a place to allow people to come back across that boundary line once they've matured enough to do so. Right. So, I mean, there's been people that I've cut out of my life. I'm just like, fuck it, whatever, I'm done. I run into them fucking 4 or 5 years down the road, and they're completely different fucking people. And it's like, shit, okay, cool, let's try this again, you know? And I don't want people to latch on to some sense of permanence. Dude, it might not have just been the right time in life to be around these people.
Which is why I said boundaries are not limitations.
Yep.
That's exactly why. I do agree that there are points in your life completely where you end up reconnecting and realigning with people. Because you do outgrow some people. And then when they grow and you're, again, now realigned, they are good people. Again, boundary is not elimination. Boundary is not permanent. You know, if you're going to limit or eliminate, different conversation. And I think that's a really good point, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because it's not about, again, that elimination or permanence factor. You just have to have boundaries because it's a good sense of measurement of who you want in your life, what you're going to allow in your life. You know, talking about the distraction, talking about people, you know, food kind of brought up just a little bit. It's like, what what are you doing? What are you eating? How are you eating? What are your boundaries? What are your limitations? Alcohol, drugs, the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You need boundaries with that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And boundaries, I don't know if this might be a good way to explain it, but boundaries are just opportunity for you to maintain control.
Mm-hmm.
And, alcohol, I know I have to have boundaries with alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay with that. I'm very proud that I have boundaries with alcohol. I'm very proud that under specific circumstances, I can allow myself to enjoy a drink and not feel guilty. And I also know that I'm very proud of the fact that I can go home every single night and never touch a drink.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a problem for me? No. Was it headed in the direction of becoming a problem for me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right.
But I just set clear boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
well,
yes,
that's a tough one too, because we're such a drinking culture here.
Yeah.
Especially in Nevada, dude, like it's all power sports and liquor and hookers and cocaine and shit like that, So it's like you setting boundaries with alcohol is almost like setting boundaries with the rest of society. Mm-hmm. Right? You're not letting the alcohol dictate when and where you go hang out with people, which is, dude, and, coming out of the restaurant industries and the pipeline game, everything revolved around alcohol. It's the first fucking thing we did when we got off work. That was just how we lived life. And then you just kind of start with, like, 75 Hard was such a fucking eye opener for me. It was like, dude, nobody wanted to hang out.
Right.
And they're like, oh, well, you're not drinking right now. And I'm like, yeah, I can still come out and, like, hang out. Yeah, just let us know when you're off program.
Off the program, Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, last weekend, I was at Matt and Becca's, and the weather around here recently has been amazing. The cool nights are coming back, and dude, I sat out on their front porch with a whiskey and a cigar, because for me, it's one of my clearly defined exceptions.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm on a date with Katie and I want to enjoy a drink, I will.
Mm-hmm.
And if I want to sit down on a patio and smoke a cigar and have a whiskey, I will.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, it's rare that I indulge.
You got a time and a place for it.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think people put way too many, they start putting restrictions on it. Well, I only smoke when I drink.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well then how much is your drinking going to ramp up because of that? Like start finding the loopholes in the system, and I think that having an understanding of the time is right, and it's not some set definitive time and place. And this is the only place that it happens. Right. But if it's the time is right for it and that you're not being abusive, I think that's a whole other story.
And that's what works for me.
Mm-hmm.
There's, I've got friends that it's either all or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Great. If that's what works for you, if those are your boundaries, then you operate within your boundaries. I'll operate within my boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got good people in your corner, they'll tell you when you're getting outside of your boundaries.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They'll tell you when you're being a lazy piece of shit or you're complaining or you're drinking too much.
Right.
And that's healthy, right? Because
the
people that you have allowed in, share similar goals. And this, with alignment too, and I was going through recording Toolbox videos today, alignment doesn't mean that you're going to do the same thing the same way.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what alignment is.
Right.
The alignment is just saying that, hey, we agree that we're going this direction.
We have an understanding of what we're doing.
Yeah. And you can operate parallel and you're going to have, you're going to swerve a little bit, but my expectation is not that you do the same thing the same way.
Mm-hmm.
That was something that I had to mature into, by the way, because, early on in my development game, I was like, this works for me, so it must work for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you start to impose that, and it's really stressful on relationships. Now just share expectations, make sure you have alignment, and then, again, have boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Money is another one I think is important. Staying in your financial lane.
Mm-hmm.
Having boundaries of, I'm not going to eat out more than twice a week, once a week. What does my convenience stops look like?
Mm-hmm.
Having that personal discipline with finance is really important because you have to have clear boundaries with that.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of separate accounts like that. I think it's the best way to hold each other accountable for your spending. It's like, okay, this is what the bills cost every month. This is what it costs to raise the kids. This is what we're going to add into for vacation fund. Encompass all of it, and whatever's left over, you get to keep in your own account, right? And then if you're broke, that's your fucking problem, not our problem. That's your problem. But the bills got fucking paid. And like, you know, when I was married, there was my ex-wife had set up a auto withdrawal from both of our accounts. So every time we got paid, this exact amount came out of both of our accounts and went into the joint account, which covered all the bills, went into investments, went into savings, went into wherever it needed to go. And then that's your fucking spending money, you know, whatever's left over.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great way to go about that.
I agree. And I want to elaborate on something with that. First is I agree with that. Every household should have 5 to 6 accounts. There should be a joint checking account, and that's for all expenses, and a joint savings account if you want. And then each should have their own individual checking and savings account. So that's 5 to 6 accounts per household. What is important is that because you didn't say that, oh, you know, we have an account so we can split the bills 50-50. There has to be a financial understanding and agreement in a household, especially if the incomes are significantly different. You're just going to absorb more responsibility.
Right.
You can't drain the count of your partner because they don't make as much as you.
Right.
That's just good partnership. The other side of that I wanted to talk about is that does not buy you. You are not purchasing expectations.
Right.
Okay. So I can't say to you, I expect you to do more because I pay more of the bills. Right. So you can't purchase expectations by that way.
You can't buy equity that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But again, that's part of, partnership maturity, having those conversations, boundaries, expectations like we're talking about. Because if you don't have those conversations, people set their own expectations. And if they don't communicate it,
you're not meeting up to it. Silent resentment. Yeah.
We should change the title of this to Silent Resentment because it's so true. I think something else on the personal aspect, because the business definitely doesn't take as long, but the personal aspect is allow yourself to discover these boundaries. They're not the 10 Commandments, right?
They're not black and white.
No.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys would be surprised at how much just having these conversations, how much you think one thing means to that person, they don't give a fuck.
Yep.
And it's like, oh. So now, if you have these conversations, you're going to put your time, energy, and effort into the places that fucking matter for your significant other.
Yep. Yeah. It's like, no, I'm not upset at all. I wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about you naked. So whatever.
You're like, well, shit, I would have been pissed about it.
Right.
And so it's like you start projecting. And that's when you don't talk through this shit and let people know what your boundaries are, people start to project.
So here's a recommendation that I make for people, because this will absolutely be implemented in my relationship life. Because Katie and I have already had this conversation multiple times, right back to expectations and boundaries. But a recommendation that I make to people in couples, and I don't really feel Hippocratic because I'm divorced. I'm like, just like if I said, oh, I don't give business advice because I failed in business, like there's a lot of experience there.
Yeah.
And it has definitely set me up for amazing success with my current relationship. So we've had this conversation, but my point is, look, if you have the opportunity to spend one morning a week to go have breakfast together, have coffee together, discuss the week detached from all of the chaos, decide what you guys want to do for food, meal prepping or dinners or whatever for the week, leave breakfast and go to the grocery store together. For me, that experience right there creates so much perspective and appreciation.
And cohesion.
Yes. and it's such a small act. It's such a small act. Well, no, you fucking go to the grocery store. It's like, listen, you're going to be eating most of the shit, or at least half of the shit. Like, but again, I think for me, it's such a great opportunity for conversation, for open conversation. Because when you break bread with people, you have that sense of comfortability, right? And you open up a little more. And if you have that expectation that, oh yeah, okay, yeah, we can talk about this on Sunday morning when we have coffee and breakfast, and man, you want to talk about continuing cohesion and keeping your finger on the pulse of the relationship.
Yeah, there's a platform for both of you there.
Right. And it just gives you the opportunity to have those conversations and talk about things and be like, oh, yeah, this happened this week. Or not that you're not going to have daily conversations, but
it's centric on the home. It's centric on the relationship. And that's, I've never had that,
You also get to set real-time expectations. And what I mean, like next week is a great example. Let's, if Katie and I live together, Sunday's morning conversation would go, hey, look, I'm going to be gone all of next week. These are the things that I have taken care of. These are the things that I normally take care of that I need done. Okay, I've set an expectation. Right? We're sharing. I'm sharing my responsibilities because my location is going to be different. Okay, that's a healthy conversation that you can just revisit in a controlled failure environment that everybody's like, yep, I get it, understand. And I'm not, calling on Wednesday and be like, hey, did you take care of this? It's like,
yeah,
motherfucker. Now you're being reactive and you're being a dick.
Right.
Kind of thing. So anyway, having those personal boundaries in all aspects is really important. Now, the cool thing is all of those apply to business as well. Staying in your lane, like we talked about at the beginning, are you creating a new lane? Are you widening your lane? Are you narrowing your lane? Like, you've got to set boundaries. Ultimately, what are you going to say no to? Those are boundaries. Just like you stated earlier, they're not eliminations. You grow and develop, and now you have a team, and you have someone in your team that has a specific set of skills that allows you to kind of widen this lane a little bit. Well, that no now transitions into specific yeses, right? Because it's a boundary,
right?
You can adjust it a little bit. Boundaries with your clients. I have on my notes here next to that control.
So yeah, boundaries with your clients. Fucking that one is so goddamn good because, dude, I mean, not only do people want everything for nothing, right? A lot of the time, especially in the markets we deal in, people want everything for nothing. But when you work with a fucking shit contractor, and this guy's just been a problem, you've done 3 or 4 projects with him, you're like, fuck, dude, fuck this guy. Like, I'm done. I'm not fucking doing this anymore. It's more of a headache than it's worth. I don't enjoy it. And then they come and dangle that carrot in front of you. Don't fucking do it. I'll tell you right now, for multiple times of making that decision, don't fucking do it. Spend your time creating better relationships with the people you do like. Quit wasting your time because somebody dangled a carrot out there. I will guarantee you're going to get fucked.
One of my clients got, I'm going to use air quotes, is fired from a contract last week. So he sends me a text message. Hey, I got fired from a contractor today. Do you have any slots up? I want to have a conversation about it. And I just so happened to have an opening the next day. So we sit down, and of course the emotion is still fresh.
Raw.
And nerve ending is still raw and exposed. But when he texted me, and I immediately texted him back and said, is that a good thing or a bad thing? And he said, I think it's a good thing. And I said, good.
Yeah.
That's all I text back.
Gave him the Jocko response.
Yep. And so we set up a time, got on the next day, and, kind of talked through it. And what I explained to him, I said, look, I know it sucks. I know you're pissed. The contractor he didn't have really good emotional discipline, the contractor.
He got spicy.
Yep. And now my client kept his composure, good emotional discipline, asked good questions, good solid questions. This guy's just a dick. And
well, we don't have any of those in this industry.
and, you know, I told him, I said, I'm really glad that you got to experience that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, fuck yeah.
Really glad that you got
That's
to.
like the most blissful form of rejection. You know, like you want to feel upset because you got rejected, that somebody doesn't want your services that you work so hard to do and put forth all this effort into. But then at the end of it, you're like, thank fucking God that asshole's gone.
I think over the next 3 to 4 days following that conversation, he messaged me 2 or 3 times and said, I can't believe how much stress has gone knowing that I don't have to work for them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so hard to see that in the moment because we don't want to lose, right? We don't want to feel like a failure. So we will do everything that we can to hold on to that commitment that we've made at our own detriment, at our own sacrifice, just to try to please this formula that's not going to work for us. You can't satisfy that equation. It's just does. They need to work with somebody else. They need the opportunity to have. They deserve to be someone else's customer. And
You've been promoted to customer.
Exactly. You know, but for him, and so we definitely went really in depth of the conversation that happened, how he reacted, how he responded, how he felt. You know, kind of what his plan was. But ultimately, I wanted to be able to shift that for him and look at it as an experience, tremendous experience. Because one thing that he did that I always encourage people to do, and he didn't do this, is he went against his gut feeling in the beginning. So he didn't trust his intuition.
Yeah, we all do that though in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because you're just chasing the fucking dollars, man, and because you have to, you know. And once I started like playing off of my gut when it comes to bidding on things or what contracts look like and shit like that, it's like, if I at least acknowledge it, I'm like, I don't have a good feeling about this. It's like, okay, then we can, at least we're being proactive. We can react a little, you know, we can do something proactive with it. Be like, okay, what part of it is not looking right? But yeah, dude, I mean, that's a fucking skill you got to learn, like how to ride the wave of your gut feelings, you know?
It takes so many different ingredients to build intuition.
So many shots in the nut.
Absolutely. I think intuition is a lot of scar tissue.
It's a fucking pain response, dude.
Yeah, it is. But I was proud of him for how he handled it, and I was happy for him that he got to experience it because already he has boundaries now. Right? First of all, he trusts his gut, and I told him, I said, always trust your instincts. But now he has boundaries. And it also is now affording him the opportunity to go after some other contractors and other work. You have to have those experiences. You can't just set these arbitrary boundaries based on what you hope. It takes skill and experience and intuition to be able to correctly write these boundaries. Some of the boundaries that you have to set with the clients too is how much impact they have on your schedule and control of your business. And
which when you're a sub, that's a lot.
It's difficult. It's difficult. Back to being proactive. How often are you reaching out to your contractors and saying, hey, touching base with you. I know you said we were 3 weeks out, checking on the schedule, where are we at? And not relying and depending on the superintendent or the GC or the contractor to do that for you. It's your business. You have to take fucking control of it.
Right.
You've got to reach out. You have to be proactive. Sit down for fucking 2 hours a week if you have to. Make phone calls and emails to be as proactive as possible. That's your responsibility. It's your business. But when they call up and say, hey, we're done, we need you here tomorrow. If you say yes and you are not able to or having to change, you're giving them control. There's no boundaries there. You know, I might say, no, what we can do is
Maybe.
But again, it's how much permission are you giving your client to run your business?
Yeah. And because, I mean, we got clients that we know that they need things done at a drop of a hat, whether it's a manufacturer with they got a whole fucking production line down, or we got a guy that's got a road paver that the grinder is fucking wore a hole through the barrel on. Like that needs to be fixed like right fucking now. So having understandings that you have these high-end clientele that you're willing to bend over backwards for, and they compensate you accordingly for it. You're very clear and honest about the expectations and compensation before you ever even dispatch. But I do think that there's different boundaries for different clients, right? Mm-hmm. And it's all about the relationships you have with them.
I think that's a really good point. Really, really good point is the boundary is not a one and done for everyone. Mm-hmm. It's not a line in the sand that it's like, oh, everyone. No, you do have different boundaries for different clients. Some of the examples that you give too also fall under a different metric of the business. Emergency work.
Yeah, right.
Is completely different. It's because you are there to solve a problem. Understanding those different aspects and kind of operating nuances of your clients and your business is really important because you can make the best decision. But when you're just a yes man to everybody, you have no boundaries.
Right.
You're just inviting everyone to come in and dictate how your company works.
He's like, please come fuck my shit up.
Yeah, here's and one of my favorite examples of that is when a customer calls your business and they say, hey, Nate, I'm interested in your services. I have this problem. I would like you to come out and take a look at it. And you go, okay, what time works best for you? Mm-hmm. You have not set any clear expectations or boundaries when you ask that question. And because what you have done is you have now given them permission to fuck up your business because they're going to give you their most convenient option and expect you now to modify everything about your business to accommodate them. The correct response should be, well, I have this time available on this day, and I have this time available on this day. Which of those two works best for you? Now you're creating, again, expectations and boundaries.
Yep. Well, and I think, just lost it. God damn it. Whatever the fuck it was. Shit. That'll hit me in a minute.
Yeah. Continuing to, again, these boundaries are going to evolve, just like your personal ones are. They're not set in stone. They're not live or die. Again, they're not eliminations. They're not limitations. They're not permanent. These are boundaries for you to be able to move because, with your team, if you have partners, you have to have, you also have to have boundaries there. You have to have boundaries with your team. You have to have boundaries with your partner or partners in the business. But again, those come with evolution, growth, conversation, good communication, and good expectations, and you can move those boundaries.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it was. Okay. So we've gotten to a point now where Matt and I both have the same conversation with every client that calls us. And it's like, hey, we got this. We need it taken care of. Can you come take a look at it? Our first question is, when do you expect to have this done by? Probably in the next 2 weeks. Okay, we're 6 weeks out. Oh, I can't wait that long. I'm like, okay, I got numbers for a couple other guys that we can send you to if you need it done right now. Yeah, we were kind of hoping to use you though. Yeah, we'll do it in 6 weeks. And like we've stopped kind of placating with people. Everything's a fucking emergency for everybody. And it's like, is it really an emergency? Because that's $250 an hour. If it's an emergency, sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But even for the next 4 weeks, it's not going to fucking matter. We don't care if it's an emergency or not. We have contracts we need to fulfill. Sorry, but our backlog is, we're at least 6 weeks right now. And that's depending, we have a couple other time frames that are up in the air right now. So it's like, whenever those start getting done, then we can get to your shit. But there's a lot of people that bring in a lot of really dumb little shit like trailer repairs or, fucking headers for something or whatnot. And they're like, oh, dude, I was really hoping to put these on tonight. I'm like, I was like, go put them on. They're just not going to be welded. No, what the fuck you want?
it's good to set those expectations and again, boundaries for sake of this conversation with your clients, because what I have also learned is people will give up their sense of urgency for what they value.
Yep.
And if they want you, and I had, clients, especially back in, the HVAC industry, they would wait weeks for me because they cared more about what they wanted than when it was done.
They cared more about their product they were going to get than the time frame in which they received it. I mean, it's because some of that shit, dude, if it's like a trailer that's jackknifed and the fucking tongue's fucked off and the dude's still got work to do, it's like, yeah, dude, you're going to want to call somebody else. And then if it's not what you want it to be, you can bring it back to us and we can redo it or whatever,
right.
But whatever to get you up and running. But I think being courteous enough to ask before they give you the big spiel about whatever the fuck it is they have, they're like, hey, I got a project for you. Be like, when do you need it done by? And that way you're saving their time, you're saving your time. The amount of time I lose on the phone all the time because somebody wants to ramble on about they want to tell me about their project over the phone, and then they have to come in and show it to me anyway. It's like, okay, how do I set the boundary of eliminating you fucking rambling about whatever? Meanwhile, I can't tell I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Can you bring it down to me? Yeah, no, I can. Why wouldn't you just start there? But they don't know. They don't.
That's right. They don't.
They don't understand what your time's worth.
No.
They're all excited about their project. They expect you to be excited.
Of course.
And I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
Of course. What I like about you guys transitioning into those questions is you're identifying the want or the need of the client, and you're identifying the expectation.
Very quickly.
Yeah. That's good service. Again, we would experience the same thing. Usually we ran we kind of volleyed between a 2 to 4 week, window with installs. Obviously we had an emergency service department. That industry is obviously quite different, but somebody that was looking to have something installed or replaced immediately didn't always work. But we were always very honest with people because sometimes we would have a schedule change, equipment wouldn't come in, and we would just be honest with people. If there's a window of opportunity for us to take care of it earlier, we will. However, we are looking into the week of the X.
Blah, blah, blah.
And, at the end of the day, it is their choice. I just want to give them real options, give them true answers. I had to have conversation with my sales team because they would treat every sales call as an urgent client. And we were constantly rescheduling people. And I fucking hate rescheduling people. Yeah. I hate doing it now.
Right.
If they want to reschedule, I'm not hurt by that. I offer that flexibility for them to reschedule if they need to. But we were constantly rescheduling, push this back, reschedule that. And finally I had to, pull them in. I'm like, this has to stop. We are constantly rescheduling people because you go to a sales call, you sell them based on their sense of urgency, which means you're setting a false expectation. You make the promise, you get the sale, you leave, and then you treat the next one the exact same way.
Yeah, and your client gets fucked.
Yes.
And the install team is pissed. And now Mama D's pissed.
Yeah.
And now people don't want to pay their bills.
Because now we're fucking up the experience because we're lying to them. Just tell them the truth, man. I have learned that it's interesting, and we can dive into it. But first, I've learned that most people are understanding.
Yeah.
If you're just honest with them and communicate with them, most people are understanding. And I've had, example after example, not with just me, but with my clients. Hey, man, this happened. But I had been communicating with my client every week. I'd been, kind of taking them through the process and this journey. And every single time something comes up, they just go, okay, we understand. Fucking every time.
Yeah.
Your comment on everybody wants, something for nothing. And I do believe there are people like that.
It was a gross over exaggeration. Yes.
No. It's worth visiting because my point is, what I want people to understand is that is so often the impression that people make. Okay. What you have to understand is people's actions are reactions to how they've been treated before. So they're coming in with this defensive tactic of trying to get the things that they want for the least amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
It is your responsibility to disarm them and gain their trust, identify their want or need, improve their relationship. When you do that, they do transform from the person that wants everything for nothing into the person that understands that they can get their problem solved.
Mm-hmm.
And then they care about value and experience.
Especially in the contracting world, the ones that understand the value of us answering the phone when you fucking call, us maintaining schedules, and us doing high quality work. They're like, yeah, we'll pay the extra for it. Because we already know that they're going to send in, some other outfit's going to come in, lowball this thing, send a bunch of slapdicks in, and then we're going to fight it the whole time.
I just wanted to bring it up because there is a sense of immaturity in business that a lot of people do that's exactly how they behave. They immediately guard up against their client because of this one thing, or even if this one perception or one behavior. I used to do it. I mean, I absolutely was like, fucking people just want everything for nothing. They want something for nothing. And that was how I would treat. And guess what? When I thought that way, that's exactly how they fucking behaved.
Yeah. Well, and that's an old school way of contracting, like it was all about everybody getting an edge on everybody else and just lowball their number no matter what, so you can see what you can really get it for. And there was like always padded, there's padding in there for that. So you could let people talk you down a little bit to make them feel like they got a deal. And it don't work that way anymore.
No, it's when I stopped thinking that way and became value focused and experience focused, I started making more money. And at the end of the day, the client that does want everything for nothing, kind of the boundary on the client too, is when someone tells me how much it should cost.
Nope, I'm done. I'm out.
I want you guys to do this, and I think it should cost about this.
Yeah, that should be a 20-minute job. Like, get the fuck out. Go. If you know how long it takes me, you know how to do it, you go fucking do it.
Do you want to give me terms? Or you want to give me price? Right? It's like, you tell me what you want done, I'll tell you what it's going to cost. You tell me what you want to spend, I'll tell you what we can do.
Right.
You don't get to tell me both.
Yeah, just either or, I'm already fucking frustrated, I like our clientele base is good enough that it's like, grand enough. Like, dude, I don't even have to do this shit. I don't, we don't really want it. And that's why we ended up passing off to the kids half the time. It's like, hey, you guys want to stick around after work and you want to deal with this motherfucker? Have at it, dude. Dude, they're pumped on it, cash in hand, fucking nice little side project, Use our shit. I don't give a fuck. Just as long as I don't get to deal with them.
just do it, take care of it, and collect it.
Yeah. Well, we got all these geriatrics around here too that love that. Like, they're all stoked on the quality of the project when it's done. Even though it's like some little 1 hour thing, but we like, we have high quality stuff, and then they want to sit around and just bullshit with you for 3 hours. And I'm like, dude, I can't do that. I gotta go.
Yeah. One of the projects that I was really blown away by was those steel bar stools you guys fabricated.
Oh yeah, for Mr. Lawson. Yeah, those things were quite good. Garrett did a killer job on those things.
Oh yeah.
We did a bunch of post feet for him too. That house is fucking gorgeous over there. So, but it was like such a small project, but he was so pumped on it. Didn't question the pricing whatsoever, and kind of gave us a little bit of design freedom on it, and I thought they came out really well.
I thought they were fantastic. That kind of raw industrial look.
Yeah, you should see the railings inside of his house. Yeah. We didn't get to do them. The house was built before we were up and running. But he's got that raw industrial look on the inside of the house too, which is fucking, everything's clear coated.
Yeah.
Nothing is powder coated in there. So, which is like really cool. I dig it.
Yeah. I like that. But yeah, so boundaries, expectations. Clear to have them. You done? You ready to get
set
out
my
of here?
boundary right fucking now,
right
Josh.
Now. Is this your boundary? Is that your boundary face?
My boundary.
I got my boundary.
We're over an hour.
Got my boundary face
boundary's
on.
an hour.
Oh God, here we go. Starting to glaze over, guys. His autism or his ADHD. What is it that's kicking in?
All of it. The downs.
Well, if you want to see his face, you can find him on Instagram at NateNewton87. I am on Instagram at The Tradesman Experience. Email is thetradesmanexperience@gmail.com. Website's thetradesmanexperience.com. And the YouTube channel is The Tradesman Experience. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. Get out there, get shit done. Be proud to be a tradesman. See you.